now. Okay. So welcome. This is going to be about a 45-minute presentation about AMI Global and our connectivity solutions for pump and drives. On the call today is myself, Henrik Lawson. I'm heading up AMI Global, and to help me out on the product and presentation is Ken McCracken. He's heading up our customer support and service. And Ken, he will join later in the presentation to walk you through that.
Yes, sir.
Really what we're going to be talking about is a quick introduction to AMI Global and the cases we have from Fresno, where we had some good traction. And then we'll talk about our hardware, the Vapor, our gateway solution. Ken is going to do that, and Ken is also going to walk us through the AMI Central, which is really our dashboard and our customer interface tool. And then if there's any questions, we'll just take them along the way, or we can have them at the end. So that's the plan. Really, AMI was, we are not a startup, but we still see ourselves as a young and agile company with some interesting technology. We were founded in 2009 by David Drake. David have a background from Motorola, and he joined up with our CTO, Ori, in 2011. Ori was bringing the hardware and the software into the company and really started doing turf irrigation in the beginning, mainly around Vegas, and then moved into Central California and started doing agriculture. That was soil moisture measurement, but also doing VFD control. And actually, 2012, 2013, got the first distributor sign-on, which was actually preferred down in Fresno. And Charles Arabian has really been instrumental in getting some traction in the ag industry down there. So we really appreciate that. So that's really the one vertical we are focusing on is agriculture. And then what we're also focusing on is the OEM channel, and that is working with manufacturer in getting them what we call IoT ready, getting them ready to get equipment connected coming out the door, and that's what we focus on. And we also have a partner program, and actually where we work with larger manufacturers in helping them understand how you can create recurring revenue around the legacy pump industry. So that's also what we focus on.
Okay.
Myself, I joined the company this summer. I have a long background from Grundfos. I've been there for 14 years, worked in the US on and off, and also been the CEO of a water treatment company, Lictech Systems, silicon carbide membrane systems back in Denmark. And Ken, can you do a quick introduction to yourself?
Yes. Wow, my background kind of is really kind of started out in the turf irrigation industry, from the background of installations, sales, and then taking that kind of low-tech industry and then bringing the high-tech side of it, remote control, remote water management. Then I've met up with AMI and have been working with them for about 3.5 years, and been working with the ag industry and also the turf side, and also now our industrial side, been working on that as well.
Okay.
So really where we're going to focus the discussion and really where our key markets are is also where preferred have your main markets, and that's really around irrigation pump control. It's about water supply pump control and monitoring, and also various industrial pump applications, depending on what kind of branch is focusing on which industry. But we also, we can help with flow meter management, valve control, lockers for soil moisture management, but basically any equipment out there, and we're going to come back to that, which has a pulse output or has a 4 to 20 milliamp output, we can hook that up to our gateway, and we can actually monitor and control through that. And also through bus communication. So Ken is going to talk a lot more about that. But that's really some of the markets that I think is interesting for preferred. And I don't know in Vegas what the main focus markets is for you, if that's irrigation or.
Yeah, I'm fairly new at this location. I've only been here 5 weeks. What I have seen so far, we do have some irrigation. We do have some water supply. We are trying to work towards the industrial market a little bit more. So, we'll see where it goes, but I think probably the irrigation pump control is going to be one of our larger applications.
Yeah. Okay. Then just to set the stage for what we call, the fancy word Internet of Things, is really something that is embedded in what we see around us today in the consumer market. We all have heard about connected lighting. We have intelligent thermostats coming into our home, which is controlled over the internet and monitoring your temperature over the internet. The whole healthcare system is going online. We have smart clothes. We have manufacturing 4.0. So all this Internet of Things is really coming, into our lives. We focus, of course, on the industrial Internet of Things. But really, by using the internet and using cellular connections, you can bypass any firewall and basically get all the equipment you have out there connected seamlessly in a matter of just minutes. So that's really the strength of what we can do. And as long as you have cellular connection, our equipment is up and running and can take control and monitor the equipment that you have out there, but also enable you to sell new equipment which is already ready to be connected.
So it must be cellular. Is there the option of a landline if it's a remote area with no cellular?
We do have a version, an older version, correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, which has an Ethernet port where you can wire it into.
Yeah, that is correct. Our Vapor I can do that. So what I mean, do we have no cellular services in some of these locations that you're talking about, Barry?
That's a possibility.
Okay.
Some of the rural valleys in this state, where ranchers are irrigating, there's no major highways going through. Why would there be cellular?
Sure. But they have internet and possibly a Wi-Fi signal?
Yes, possibly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because that's another way, Ken, right? We can use a Wi-Fi connection right into another gateway and go that way.
Yeah. So basically, what our Vapor, instead of using cellular signal, we would connect with the Wi-Fi. We have a Wi-Fi module that can go on the Vapor, and we can connect. We can connect to your internet source and then get back to our servers.
Okay.
Okay, super. We just had Marcus Valdez joining. Welcome.
Thank you.
Marcus, where are you calling in from?
Santa Maria, California.
Santa Maria, okay.
Good morning, Marcos.
Good morning.
We got Barry from Las Vegas on the call.
Hello, Barry.
So it's just the two of you and myself, Henrik Lawson, and Ken McCracken.
Okay.
Scott's on the call from Las Vegas too.
Oh, Scott. Hey.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Great.
So we're just going to carry on from here, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
So really, what AMI? I just want to give Marcus and Scott a heads up that we're also recording this session, so your colleagues can see it afterwards.
Thank you.
So really what AMI offers is custom industrial gateways that you connect to the equipment. It communicates over a proprietary security protocol up to Microsoft Azure servers and then down to our AMI Central, which we're going to go through how that works, so you can actually see your equipment and also onto mobile devices. So it's an end-to-end solution we provide, both from hardware, communication protocol, server maintenance, cellular connection, down to the front end where you actually see your equipment and you can operate your equipment from our user interface. And we have that as both an AMI offering, or with preferred we have you set up, so we are just working in the background. You can't even see it's AMI, so it's actually a preferred pump solution. So we do this co-branding if that's what the clients want. And when the clients log on, they also either see preferred, or they can actually, if they have multiple installation, they can just see their own brand also. So we are completely flexible on that. But really, what's interesting about what we're doing is, I'm an old pump guy myself, is moving towards, new business models where you can capture more than just selling a pump one time, that you act, or a drive one time, is that you, by putting our solution on a Yaskawa drive, for example, which you're sending out to a pump station, is that by having it connected and giving your customer the capability to control and monitor and actually having a service fee for that, you start building, a business model around more proactive service, spare part sales, and you actually end up, being better connected, to the clients. And this whole SaaS model, or service as a software as a service, or recurring revenue. So you start seeing revenue coming in year over year, instead of just selling a Grundfos CR pump once, or submersible SP pump once. You can actually start seeing some recurring revenue coming in. And I really think that's some of the new things we'll see in the pump industry, moving towards that direction. Some of the markets that we are active in, and which you also are, is really the portable and grey water market, where we do solutions for lift stations out in the street. We do variable speed drives. We do sensor monitoring. And we run remote diagnostics. We do a lot in agriculture. I talked about that. We have a great traction with Charles down in Fresno. We sold many units down there. It's almost de facto standard now when he sells a Yaskawa drive, that it has a vapor gateway from us already on there. And then, of course, we got the industrial commercial, where we, any rotating equipment, could be a fan, an HVAC equipment, it could be a compressor, power management, anything that has electronics built into it, we can grab that information. And then obviously the oil and gas market, we just won a major contract with a Houston company, where we're gonna do vibration analytics on ANSI pumps that's going into the oil and gas industry. And again, that just proves that these more legacy pump companies and pump distributors are really moving ahead and changing the game in starting putting sensors and gateways on there, so they can start being more proactive in the service offerings in the future. Some of the examples that we have done. Excuse me. This is Premix Pump Watch Express. So this is a system we have put on pump stations for SDA Rhombus. So when you have a pump station out of the landscape, we can fully monitor that and control both flow, pump operation, and so on. So instead of just up in the right hand corner having a red light comes on, and then occasionally somebody drives by and sees something is wrong, hey, you can actually see real time what is going on. And if you look at the screen now, this is down in the left hand corner. This is the user interface. So you see the two pumps down there, if they're running or not. You have how many gallons of water that's coming into the pit, how much you're pumping out in each pump, and that's all monitored on the screen. And then over on the right hand side, you can actually see where that pump station is located out in the landscape. So that's a pretty interesting solution for the municipalities, that they now have this control function and monitor function for their systems. Then we'll talk a little bit about ag. I'm just going to show some pictures here. This is what we have done down in Fresno. This is a fertigation machine, so liquid fertilizer out in the field for drip irrigation. So you have pumps here on the left side on the top. You have two Grundfos metering pumps. In the middle here, you see the control panel. In the middle, that is our spirit controller. So that's a fertigation controller. And then on the boxes to the right, you actually have the vapor, the gateway, which communicates to the cloud. There's another picture on the right over here where you see the pumps down the bottom there. So what Charles Arabian is actually doing, that he's building these kits, he's putting our equipment on there, and then he sells a fertigation machine which is fully controllable and monitored over the internet. Here is another solution for a pump station. So Yaskawa 1000 drive, transformer on the right. You see the red circle there, that's our vapor. So it's about 4 by 4 inches. It's our standard vapor with Modbus communication into the SCADA drive. And Ken is going to show you in a little bit that now you actually have all the parameters you see on the drive when you're standing in front of it. Now you can access that over the cloud and adjust that, and you can monitor ramp up time, change set points, and all that over the cloud. And we sell that to Preferred for $450, and we charge, including first years of service, and then we charge $360 a year to keep it up and running, and that covers all the cost, support, seller connection, everything. So for $450, you basically connected your $25,000 drive to the cloud and have full remote connection. On the right hand side is also a solution that the Preferred is doing for U.S. water. Again, fertigation, pumps on the bottom. Preferred put the panel together on the right, the gray one, and on the left is our vapor built into the control box here. So again, the whole unit is up and running over the cloud. And we also have tank monitoring system and level control built into this as well. Any questions to this so far before we get into the more technical presentation?
So basically, what are we controlling? Or we're sending the signal back so that you can look at it remotely?
Yes, exactly. So for example, for the VFD, you set up the parameters and the set point to operate the pump. But you can change those parameters over the cloud. You don't have to stand in front of the drive to actually find out if it's running. You get a green light on your phone. Okay, my pump station XYZ is actually now running. It's been running for X amount of hours, been pumping this amount of water, and so on. So you get all that. If you're standing in front of it, you get all that in the palm of your hand.
Okay.
And Ken is going to show you some examples of the screens where you can actually see the icons and how it's actually working in real life. Okay, let's move on. This is the last picture I have to share with you. This is a logger installation. So out in the field, you can have different soil moisture sensors or pressure sensors installed, and then through our equipment, which is operated by solar panels. Then you actually get real-time reading on what your soil moisture is doing. You can send that back to your controller to actually start irrigating, and you can also open and close the valve for the different rows to control the irrigation through the different crop lines as well. So that's also something we have done for quite some time, mainly in Central California, obviously. Okay, I'm going to give the ball over to Ken to talk about our hardware and software. Any questions before he gets started on that? Okay. Ken, you have the ball.
Okay. All right. Sounds. Can you go ahead and leave your screen up so I can talk about a little bit of the specifications on the VaporX?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I'll do that.
Barry, what kind of PLCs are you using or drives when you do your installations?
We are not really big on drives and PLCs, or at least the customers that we've been dealing with. The drives that they have been using have been the bare bones basics from Intella or Pentec, the Intella drive. We have been selling some Yaskawa drives, but not nearly enough to justify stocking them.
Okay. All right. And Frank, what's normally, what kind of installations are you guys doing or sales?
This is Marcos from Santa Maria. I can answer. For our area, we're mainly using the Yaskawa IQ 1000s. And a lot of the smaller drives too. From, like Barry mentioned, the Pentec Intella drives. I recently had an application where I've been working with you, Ken, on a flow meter that I haven't been able to get dialed in. It's not the typical ones that I think are common. The guys are using more of the pulse output. This is a paddle wheel type. It's got the 4 to 20, but we mainly see those. So where we're seeing, they want to register flow, and then also on the VFDs, that's our market over here.
Okay. All right. Okay, sounds good. Okay, well, let me talk now. Marcos, you have the VaporX. You have this version of the VaporX, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
got it. Okay, so you saw one of the previous pictures of the VaporX. I mean, this is roughly the size of a large deck of cards. That's how big it is. It's very small. It actually grabs its power from the from a Yaskawa VFD or anything that can give it a 12 to 24 volts DC power supply. So there's no power supply in this. It'll take the power from the drive that you're connecting it to. It has two analog inputs, 4 to 20 milliamp inputs, one digital input to where we could take a pulse type flow meter, and that's scaled pulse, whether it's 1 to 1, 1 to 10, or 1 to 100, and give you that flow in accumulation. We also have the ability to handle one relay on this. It is a DC voltage relay. So if you, I know a lot in California where you need to be able to turn your pumps on and turn your pumps off, and you don't want to run your pump during a high power usage and start running up those large electricity bills. If you want to turn that off during those peak times, there is a schedule feature with our devices that you can turn those off during those high peak usage times. As we said, we can communicate through RS-485 communications, whether it's a Yaskawa drive, Hitachi, a Danfoss FC202, or any programmable PLC. We can work with you if there's a high need for it, for some design fees to create your own application. And I'll show you a couple of those that we've done for some people out here in Texas. So we have several forms of communication. We can use a CDMA, which is primarily Verizon. We can use GSM communications, whether that's AT&T, T-Mobile. And those are primarily the three that we use. And as we talked about a little bit with Barry, we do have some options to connect our devices through Wi-Fi in those cellular areas where there is no cell, but they do have some sort of internet connection. Now, this particular hardware, it will connect via a DIN rail. You can see there's two pieces to it. You have the mounting bracket here on the right-hand side where you can see this black, the expanded view of the bottom VaporX. That can be mounted directly onto a wall, or you can see the little indentations where it can be mounted on a DIN rail. And then the Vapor, it actually just kind of snaps into it. And these are all NEMA 4 outdoor rated, so these are okay to be out in the weather and the elements. Now let me move over to the VaporX I. This is the VaporX I. It is virtually the innards. That's the technical term for this. Is our communication, our logic, and our firmware is virtually the same thing as in the VaporX. The VaporX I just gives you more access to inputs and a relay. So with this one, again, 12 to 24 volts DC required for it to operate. This one is primarily going to need to be installed within an existing panel that you have, or have an enclosure, put this in an enclosure. And then again, it does grab its power from the drive or a small 12 to 24 volt power supply, DC. This one here, as you can see on the bottom, going from left to right, you have your RS-485 communications going in there. And then we have two digital inputs. Those can either be two flow meters or two contact closures based upon what your need is on that side. And then we have 4 to 20 milliamp inputs, and then again we have a single relay. And again, same communication style, CDMA and GSM. This one is primarily going to be on a DIN rail, where DIN rail clips, or you can mount this on a wall, but it will require an enclosure. You can order this with an enclosure, but there is a little bit higher price on that, or if you want to put it in your existing panels, you'll be fine there too. So, okay, Henrik, can you go ahead and hand the presentation over to me, and I can go over AMI Central. Okay, so when you first want to access, now what I'm going to talk to you about is, all right, we have this hardware, we've installed it. Marcos, you've had some experience with our user interface, and we actually created kind of a custom deal for you for your project. How you access the website, again, it's ami-central.com. And as Henrik alluded to, is when you get to that point and you want to have your own look, like this is our product, it's got our name on it. This web address here can be your own. It can be preferred pump online, whatever you want it to be. When you get to that point, we can talk to you about pricing on that. And then also these logos that you see and have a custom background, you know, really branding this to be preferred pump or your specific brand. Okay, so at ami-central.com, you first put in your login here and you'll log in. Now, when you first come, this is the first thing that you're going to see when you log in. You have a list of all of your dealerships and accounts on the left, and I'll give you a little bit more information and kind of detail what those are here in just a minute. Then you also have a great feature of the map, where you can geolocate all of your devices and physically know where they are in the world. We also give you different colors. If they're green and showing green, that means they're online, they're communicating. If you see a gray one right here, that means it's offline. It's not communicating with our servers. It's been out of communication for at least 30 minutes. Now, this could be by design, or we could have a cellular outage or equipment failure or a power failure of some sort. Now, what's great about this map is, you know, here's just a general map view. We can also show you a satellite image, so you can really dial in where these devices are and show exactly where they are located in what you need to do. Okay. Now, once you see a device here, you can actually click on it. This will give you some basic information of the last communication, the signal strength, or the RSSI is basically the signal strength that this device is receiving. Now, what's another good thing about this is you can also double click on this icon and it's going to take you straight to that device. Okay. All right. Now, let me talk a little bit back here about the tree view on the left-hand side. This level of login that I'm showing you here is basically it's our highest level outside of our system admin view that we get to see. This is, think of this as, and I'm just going to use a sports analogy here, guys, bear with me. Think of this login as you're the sports commissioner over the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball. Now, underneath those leagues, or dealers is what we call them, you can have a dealership called Associated Drilling. Now, under Associated Drilling, he's going to have several different accounts underneath here where this customer, AWS equipment, this is Associated Drilling's own equipment. They've kind of taken this under their wing where they want to be the person to install this, and I think they're also taking over the billing where we're billing them directly and they're making a markup and a profit off of this equipment that they're monitoring. So under AWS equipment, this is the equipment he is monitoring under this, and underneath this, he has separate users that can only see these devices. They're not seeing everything else. Same thing for CPN water plant. This is actually a micro Yaskawa micro drive. This is kind of what it looks like here. So we have 5 different levels of logins available to suit your customer's need and what kind of access you want them to have, while you can still control everything on top of this and what they see and what they don't see. We have 5 different options for them in those logins. And again, as you get started with this, we can help you out with determining what's the correct login for this type of user and what they want to see. So let me take you to a device here and show you. This is the IQ 1000. As we can see over here from the left-hand side here, this is basically the main information that you're going to see, just right off the startup. Okay, this is what we call our snapshot view. We can see our amps, gallons per minute, what it's running, and the hertz. This also has using one of the inputs on the drive, we're showing the level of the well. Again, you can change the set point and do a pump start and stop on that. And this is all features that we can help you set up when you set up your first accounts and showing you how to use them. Now, from the standpoint of what can I change on the drive, what can I get? So, we talked about, Henrik talked about a lot of the lift stations with Premix. The biggest selling point of that product is the alerts that we can give you. We can set up multiple alerts, and quite honestly, we can fill your inbox and annoy you to no end on the amount of alerts that we can give you. But let's talk about some of the good stuff of the alerts. So on your IQ 1000s, if there is a fault on this drive, you're going to want to know about that fault, and this is how you assign your alerts. Any users that are assigned to this account, you can come in here, you can assign an email, a secondary email, and we can also send you a text message directly. So once you get that alert, so what do I do once I get that alert? Well, you're going to log in to this. It's going to give you a device ID. It's going to give you the name of the pump, and so you know exactly which one to come in and look at. Now, this is just going to come up and show you as a red LED. Now, here you'll come to the faults page, and this will show you the main faults that happens in the IQ 1000. So if you guys know these drives probably better than we do. There are tons of possible faults, but these are the major and the most common of the faults that happen in a drive. And here you can see what's happening with that site. Now, from the standpoint of, okay, what's going wrong, to the standpoint of, okay, what can I change? What can I tweak on this drive so I don't have to send a tech out there, drive an hour out, he's on site for an hour, then he's got to spend time getting to his another job. So we have several different groups underneath the IQ 1000. We have the B group, the C group, the H group, the O group, the P group, and the Q group. These are some of the major in the B, and if you need to change any of these settings, you can just change this and click save, and that change is going to be made on the drive. I'll show you a little bit of the H group. A little bit of the P group here. So as you can see, there's a lot of parameters that you can change on the IQ 1000. And this is, we're talking about the IQ 1000 because that's, a lot of what you guys are installing. But, this is the type of functionality we can give you with other drives that you're interested in using, like the FC202 and some other, and the Hitachi drives. So don't think that we're just Yaskawa. We can communicate and integrate with other drives that you see out there. Some of our templates may be not as robust as this, but as you grow this business, we can create those templates to be as robust as you want them to be. Okay. Now, one of the great things I think about our system is the reportings that we can do. Back this up a little bit because I think he's got the power off on this one. It's kind of out of season. And create some graphs here. So here's some graphing that we can allow you to do. We're tracking the amps, the hertz, the gallons per minute, and the level. and we can actually take this data and we can zoom into it. And this is when the pump is on. This is the level when this pump comes on. The pump draw is going to go down. And you can see, I can stop moving my mouse here, and you can see a little bit more of the details of how this drive is running. So there's some good analytics here. You can also export all of this data into an Excel spreadsheet, or a CSV, or just print a report with a PDF. Okay. Do any of you guys do any MP204s? Okay. Pretty much the same kind of thing here with the MP204s. You know, we can show you the parameters. You can change a few parameters. Again, same as the IQ 1000. You know, again, we can, you know, pretty much integrate with anything with any manufacturer that's willing to allow Modbus communication. Now, what's that?
I was gonna, sorry to interrupt, but like Syncom or Littlefuse, they have like 777 motor overload relay. I believe that has
Yes.
RS-485 connection. You guys can do something like that. Okay.
Yeah, we actually we do have some SimCom. We do have a SimCom template. It's on our older system, but it's something, if you have a lot of drives that you're wanting to bring over, that's something we can bring over to our new site here. Yes, that is something we can definitely do. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, and let me talk to you about this. I kind of wanted to show you, these are the custom applications that we've talked about, where Associated Drilling paid us to create this template for them. So he could use, this is something that he is going to be using across multiple customers. It's something that he does. It's a PLC that he programs himself. And then these are the things that he wants to offer his customers. So it was worth it to him to pay us to create this template for him so he could have this custom solution that he could take to his customers. So do you guys have any questions so far about what we've talked about?
Nope.
Yeah, one question. This is Scott in Vegas. What kind of cell signals do they have to have? Does it have to be 3G or 4G for them to communicate?
We have, the communication we have is CDMA right now, Verizon CDMA. It's the 1X RTT. On our GSM side of it, we have a 3G communication with AT&T and T-Mobile. By the end of this year, we will have 4G LTE that will be available to us.
Okay, but if they're in an area where they have basic cell service but they don't have a 3G signal, then the Vapor probably wouldn't work.
Not necessarily, because well, we do know that the 2G spectrum has been shut down, I think, for the past year. Where there may or may not be 4G communication, there's most likely the older spectrum, the 3G spectrum, is available. So, and you bring up a good point here. Wherever you're going to be installing these devices, you know, the customer is out there, and you know, the basic question that you can ask this customer is, hey, what cell service are you using? Do you have, you know, can you send an email? Can you send a text? Is his cell phone service on Verizon? Is it on AT&T? Is it on T-Mobile? Whichever. And that'll kind of give you some clue on what kind of device and what kind of cellular module you want to do. And I don't know if you caught at the beginning that we do have the ability to do Wi-Fi communication. If they do have hardline internet out there, that we do have a Wi-Fi module that we can, on certain devices, that we can get Wi-Fi communication out.
Okay, great.
Okay. Well, that kind of wraps up what I wanted to go over with you. You know, again, beyond all this, and the separation of the accounts. You all, if you see my screen over here on the right, this is, if you have this level of login, even on a dealer level of login, you have the ability to kind of organize your accounts to what they need to be, and to get them into the place where it's most convenient for your customers and for you to operate them. And that's something, as you guys get started, we're here to help. We'll get you on the right path and make the suggestions on what needs to be set up here. Okay. Henrik, that's about where I'm at here. If you wanted to take back over, or if I need to, there you go.
Yeah, I got the ball. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it. So they gave you some introduction to and hopefully some insight to the capabilities that you can offer your clients in terms of the hardware, but also the functionality of what you actually see and control and monitor online. And Ken was showing this, on through the browser version, but you can also do that on your phone. And we know that your customers are also becoming a younger generation, so they kind of expect to be able to do all this on the fly. So that's also fully enabled to be scalable, on your iPhone or iPad or an Android device.
Are you going to go over how to set that up for someone who has a unit?
How to set up it on a mobile device?
Yes.
But there you actually, with a new AMI Central, you actually just log in through your browser on you. It's not an app, but what have you done is that the dials and the graphs are fully scalable up and down depending on the size of your screen.
Okay, so like let's say on your iPhone 5S, you can just log into AMI Central and basically that's your mobile access.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ken, am I missing? Is there anything specifically you have to do on that? I don't think so.
No, there's really not. And, and I know the big craze now is like, do you have an app? Do you have an app? Do you have an app to open your refrigerator? Do you have an app to, work with your bank? There's a lot of development and a lot of things that go into place of developing an app. And every time you change something, you have to go through this certification process again. But honestly, now that you have the technology of a responsive website where if you change the size of your browser, you can see things move around and become more fit to your screen. So when you log into our site from a desktop and then you log into from your phone, you're going to see a little bit different view, but all the functionality is there. It's just the menus are kind of, you got to press a button to do a drop down. And from the standpoint of developing and becoming, being more flexible and offering more opportunities and more updates and upgrades, sticking with the website format works a lot better.
Okay. But that basically concludes the presentation for today. Do you have any further questions we can help you out with?
No, I'm good here. Thank you for the information.
Okay, and if you need to get a hold of us on the screen right now, you have my contact and Ken's contact, as well as our support line. We're here to help you out pretty much 24/7, and really the goal is for us to to strengthen our relationship with Preferred and hopefully enable you to have a more direct contact with your customers and give them the control in their hand, so they can better control the equipment. So I hope you enjoyed this today and you learned something. And then if you have any questions in your sales process or how to get the first device out there, just please contact us.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you. Bye-bye.